Welcome to Yard Talk. I'm Doug.
Hi, I'm Greg.
I'm a trained landscape architect and I believe in strong design.
I'm a born naturalist and I think that good design can create great backyard wildlife habitat.
As you'll see, we sometimes look at gardens in different ways.
But we both agree that the natural approach to lawn and garden care is the best.
We're here to answer some of the many questions we hear from homeowners all over King County who call in to the Natural Lawn and Garden Hotline.
We'll show you cutting-edge techniques to save you time and money without poisoning our children, our pets, or the environment.
I'd have to say my favorite plant would probably be the blackberry, because I really like those.
Probably a cedar, red cedar.
Oregon grape, that's cool.
I like ferns. I love ferns. Yes.
One of the great things about living in the Pacific Northwest is our abundance of native plants grown and raised right here. Native plants thrive here naturally. They were here long before European settlers arrived.
And native plants are good news for your garden because they're easy to establish and flourish with little care.
They're also very important for native wildlife. Many species depend on native plants for habitat. Best of all, these native beauties look great in any garden.
And you can be sure there is a native plant for almost every site condition. Just look at this beautiful shade garden on Mercer Island. Local gardener Rita Moore has used native plants to create a beautiful, relaxing oasis. What kind of native plants work well? Well, you might be familiar with vine maple, sword fern, and salal, often used in flower arranging. But there is a host of other natives that are equally interesting and useful, and even a little eccentric. Have you ever heard of rattlesnake plantain? How about skunk cabbage, which can make a rather interesting ornamental for soggy areas?
Getting a hold of native plants was once a challenge. You can't just go out to the wild and dig up native plants. Our remaining natural areas are precious, and removing the plants from the wild is irresponsible and illegal. It destroys our natural habitats.
But fortunately now there are some great plant sales, nurseries, and salvage events where you can get your fill of native plants.
Before we take you on a tour of Rita's beautiful garden, let's check out one of the biggest native plant sales in King County and talk with some folks about gardening with natives.
We'll also show you how the county uses native plants to restore habitat and tell you how you can legally gather your own plants through the King County Native Plant Salvage Program.
Well, my favorite native plant is the vine maple. We bought one here at the sale a few years ago, and it's growing beautifully, and it's just an awesome tree.
I'm here today at Bellevue Botanical Gardens for the Washington Native Plant Society Central Puget Sound Chapter's Native Plant Sale. This garden is a stunning place to visit anytime, but today is particularly interesting to me because it's full of native plants. This is an annual event. Folks come from all over the region for some great deals on native plants and also lots of good advice on using native plants in the landscape.
It's kind of unique to be a native plant gardener these days, so it's kind of neat to have people come over and then I can educate them about native plants in my backyard.
Anything that'll cut down the weeds, I'm going to like a lot.
It is a lower maintenance, and also wildlife prefers native plants.
You don't have to water them, so that's kind of nice.
I love natives, and I love seeing the things that I see when I'm out on a hike in my backyard. It brings home to me the whole Northwest.
If you're interested in learning more about the Washington Native Plant Society, you can go to our Yard Talk website at dnr.metrokc.gov/yardtalk and learn more.
You know, I think I like the trilliums best. So.
They are beautiful.
Yeah, and the bleeding hearts are great too.
Although the plant sale is great, did you know you can actually harvest beautiful plants yourself at one of King County's native plant salvage events? You can attend a naturescaping workshop where you can learn all about creating backyard wildlife habitat. Participants head to a forest scheduled to be cleared for buildings. There you can dig up plants to take home. Free native plants for your garden. I love to see the cars pulling away stuffed to the gills with plants. For those of you with an altruistic streak, King County's Native Plant Salvage program also offers volunteer opportunities to salvage plants from forests before they're cleared for development. But instead of taking the rescued plants home to your garden, we replant them in various spots around the county to help preserve and restore wildlife habitat.
Well, I tried.
Come on out and join us. It's a great way to give back to your community and preserve the environment.
Evergreen huckleberry because the leaves stay on and has good berries. It's good for the wildlife. So I think that's the favorite.
I'm here with Cindy Young, the brains behind the King County Native Plant Salvage Program. Cindy also manages the nursery here at Duthie Hill. Cindy, can you tell us a little bit about how the whole program works?
Well, these plants have come from development sites all over King County. We call up the developer and get permission to go onto their property with large groups of volunteers, and we dig these up by hand. We salvage 4 times a year, the first Saturday of every November, December, February, and March. And so I'd say we salvage about 16,000 plants. Well, we bring them back here in burlap bags, and we pot them up using a group of volunteers right after the event. And we put them in these capillary beds, these wood frame beds.
Right. And then ultimately what happens to these plants?
These plants are used on King County stream and wetland restoration projects, mainly for salmon habitat restoration. And these plants are unique in that they are genetically adapted to this climate. And you can't find these plants anywhere else. You cannot buy them anywhere else. We provide a valuable service to the county.
Out of all the native plants, what would you say is your favorite native plant?
Well, believe it or not, my favorite native plant is the red alder because it grows really fast. So it's a good restoration plant. It creates shade really quickly, so you can put other plants underneath it in about 2 or 3 years that require shade. And it also improves soil quality.
Well, thanks, Cindy, for meeting with us today and telling us about the program. Good luck with the program.
Thank you. And please encourage people to come to a native plant salvage event.
I think the Pacific rhododendron is my favorite plant. Thank you.
Not only are native plants a fantastic addition to your home landscape, they play a vital role in restoring salmon habitat as well. We're here at Taylor Creek in Renton. King County's Water and Land Resources Division has been working hard to restore a wetland and stream corridor back to a healthy state. The site is being reshaped to create a connection between the creek and the floodplain. In an area where there used to be a swimming pool and pasture will soon be a wetland. This fall, the whole site will be replanted, and with lots of care and with the help of native plants, this place will become a wonderful area where salmon and wildlife can once again flourish. The overhanging trees will provide lots of shelter and food for young salmon.
You don't have to have acres and acres of land or heavy equipment to make a big difference for wildlife. Mike O'Brien and Leah Mickelson have been using salvaged native plants plus nursery plants to create a beautiful and wildlife-friendly garden. A new native plant shoreline provides foods and shelter for ducks, frogs, and other wildlife. The lawn here previously did little except attract Canada geese. The native plants also help protect their shoreline from washing away in the waves, all without the expensive need for bulkheads.
Probably red flowering currant would be my favorite.
Why?
Gorgeous blooms in the spring. Hummingbirds are attracted to it, and it's pretty low maintenance.
Now for a closer look at this beautiful native garden on Mercer Island. One of the things I like most about Rita's garden is the careful selection of those native plants and their ornamental allies that are well adapted to shady sites. Rita took this steep hillside covered in ivy and transformed it into a shade forest wonderland using a host of natives. Just take a look. When selecting plants for your site, pay attention to the right plant for the site, or what some call a microclimate. Do you have a dry, windy site? Do you have areas that are deeply forested or on a forest edge? Dry shade or damp shade? Sound confusing? Don't worry. For a list of possible site conditions and the natives adapted for those conditions, check out our online native plant landscaping guide. There you can browse through a list of more than 120 plants and photos. You will be able to choose from a selection of native plant landscaping plans and even create a customized plant list to save, email, or print. And now Greg will show you how to prep a site for native plants. Watch very closely.
That's it. Native plants don't need a lot of extra care. Really, you do need to go ahead and prepare the site properly though. Just go in and make sure you scrape back your mulch, dig a nice planting hole for them, make sure the roots are pointing towards the outside of the hole, and then be sure when you backfill, just use that native soil that's already there. Native plants love that glacial till that a lot of ornamentals think is, oh, that's awful soil. Native plants love that stuff. So all you really need to do is go ahead and put organic mulch around the top, maybe a couple of inches. Good to go. Water for the first 2 seasons to make sure that their roots get good and established. But after that, no fuss, no muss. Native plants are the low maintenance alternative for gardening.
Well, folks, we encourage you to explore the wonders and delights of gardening with native plants while saving time, water, and hard cash.
So Doug, what's your favorite native plant?
Well, that would have to be goat's beard. It's one of the stars of my garden, tall and stately with large white plumes that bloom for a whole month and even look cool dried out in the winter garden. And your favorite?
Well, I haven't met a native plant I didn't like. Even stinging nettle I love for the way it helps provide food for butterfly larvae. I'm sure you'll find some favorite plants too.
Well, there you have it, more tips for your garden the natural yard care way. If you have questions, call the Lawn and Garden Hotline, and who knows, you may see us answered on the air.
We'd love to have your help at a native plant salvage event. They are loads of fun. To find out more, check out our website.
Have a healthy garden.
And a healthy family too.